Well, the latest is that it's confirmed the Minister of Defense, DAOUD, RAJHA, had been killed. The Minister of Interior had been critically injured, as well as the head of the National Security Office. This explosion took place at the National Security Building. It seems it's a very serious explosion. We're not sure if it's a suicide bomber in a car, or is it one of the bodyguards inside, or one of the insiders who blew himself up as this meeting was taking place. A high-level meeting was taking place with a number of ministers and high security officials attending it. We also know that the Republican Guards, this is the elite units of the Syrian security forces, is surrounding a Shami hospital. This is the main hospital for the government and government officials. And it seems more high officials were at that meeting could be injured as well.
And this is going to be of immense concern to Assad and his government, given the fact that this attack took place in the heart of the capital, where presumably security would be pretty tight.
Yes, it's in the heart of the capital, in a Rauda neighborhood. It's an upscale neighborhood. Security is very tight over there. There are embassies. There are people living there with a lot of security guards. It's also very close to Al-Malki neighborhood, where President Assad lives himself with his family. He lives in a Rauda neighborhood. Along with regular people, there are regular people. It's a residential neighborhood. It's a 10 minutes walk from that building where the explosion happened. But now we know that in the past few months, security had been upgraded very tightly around that neighborhood in Al-Maliki, around President Assad's residence. Still, it's a very major, significant development.
And give us an impression of how you feel this fits into what's going on around the rest of Syria.
Well, already Syrian pro-government, Syrian analysts and journalists have been on Syrian pro-government TVs. What their take on it is that this is an attempt by foreign powers to undermine and to destabilize the country, but it won't work. And they said all these people who were killed today are going to be martyrs, and it's just a reaction to the government's success in crushing the armed rebellion in many places in Syria, including the capital itself. That in the past 3 days, yes, there's been intense armed clashes between the government forces and the armed rebels, but the government had the upper hand and it managed to arrest and kill many of them. This is the spin that is you see and hear on the government media. If you talk to the opposition and the Free Syrian Army and the activists, to them this is significant because the battle is in Damascus today. The battle is in the heart of the country, where the government had been boosting for months now that it's in control, it's quiet, life goes there as normal. It's another sign that the government is still in control, and they want to undermine that statement specifically.
And this, as you say, comes after days of shelling and gunfire between opposition fighters and government forces in Damascus. How important is it going to be, as far as the government is concerned, to put this down as soon as possible?
The government, not just after this explosion, you know, they have been very adamant and determined to crush any attempt to bring the battle to Damascus. They have spared no weapons and no ways in order to do whatever possible to prevent the opposition from bringing the uprising into Damascus, because it's important for them. They have a good significant portion of the population in the capital is still supporting President Assad, and they want to show the world that they still have support. They want to show their allies, the Russians and the Chinese and the Iranians, that they are still strong, that they will hold on, and that's why they should not give up on them. They shouldn't be trying to make compromises and settlements and to push them, to push President Assad to step aside. Now, with this explosion, the government will use it as an excuse to crush even harsher on the opposition and on the armed rebels, because they will say, you see, these are terrorists. This is what we have been saying from the beginning. It's terrorist elements. They are not Syrians. They are being paid by countries from outside Syria, countries who are trying to bring down the regime in the country here for its political agendas. And this is the line that we have been hearing from the government. Now they will stress it more, and they will use it to even use harsher measures against anyone who will try to rise against them.
Rula, thanks very much indeed. That's the picture from Beirut on what's going on in Syria right now. Rula Amin reporting there. Let's